Hey, what's up, Carla?
Hey Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. We are together again. I feel like this has been very frequent.
I know, right? It's such an honor and,
Um,
and a blessing.
but we're not always wearing masks when we're together. But COVID is out there again. I mean, it did.
Yes.
It never
I
went
mean,
away.
right,
Let's not pretend. But
right, yes.
we're just being extra safe. But if it looks like we're in a hotel room, we are. You want to explain where we are?
Yes, so we are in Austin, Texas, and we are doing a few site visits because we will be presenting leadership journeys at South by Southwest EDU in 2022. So I'm really excited. My first time in Austin. I'm really,
Oh
really
yeah, that's
excited.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Remember, I was like talking about maybe moving here.
Yeah.
Remember?
You still should. It's a great place.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like the big migration right now with everyone from California coming over. So I
Um,
want to add to that.
Tesla, I think, is in. Is it? I
Is
don't.
it?
Is it in Austin? Like,
I
we'll
don't
ask
know.
our guest
We'll
that.
ask our guests. Yeah.
So without further ado, we're gonna talk to someone who is really related to the reason that we are here in Austin today. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show, Greg Rosenbaum. Greg, what's going on? How are you?
Not much. It's great to see you all in our hometown here in Austin, and I'm hoping you have a great visit, Carla, for the first time.
Thank
Um,
you.
Greg, just as a sort of baseline, like, can you introduce who you are and why we brought you on the show for the South by Southwest show?
Sure. I'm Greg Rosenbaum. I am the head of South by Southwest EDU. When I first moved down here 12 years ago, I joined the company South by Southwest to launch the first ever education portion of the festival, and have been growing the event ever since. So I work with a really amazing team, and we have a 4-day education conference and festival here in Austin that we do right before the rest of South by Southwest kicks off, which is traditionally known as a music, film, and technology conference. But the education piece is really growing.
I have kind of a strange question for you. So I'm a runner, but it's winter in Connecticut, so I've been running like on a treadmill. But I have one of those new things where you can run with people. So I've been doing a Boston Marathon, and the race that I ran, which was a live version of the Boston Marathon that was just run, they were like, this hasn't been run. The Boston Marathon hasn't been run in 872 days. And I was like, that's actually a crazy stat. I'm curious whether you know the exact amount of days since the last South by Southwest happened in person.
I'm trying to do some mental math. So the last real in-person South by Southwest was in 2019. So we'll do 3 years minus like 78 days, which is how far away we are from South by Southwest EDU this year. So quick math would be a little over 1,000 days since we've done South by
That's
Southwest.
insane. Um,
Yeah.
well, I will say that we're excited to come back in March again. But let's talk about having conferences in this time. Like, what types of considerations are you all putting into place to make sure that we can have a safe South by Southwest EDU?
It's a great question, and I think as we're learning today, even it's sort of an evolving landscape, and so being very responsive to the environment is hugely important. But we've come up with a lot of safety protocols, a requirement for vaccines or a negative test before you enter the registration hall and participate in the event. And I think we're still finalizing some of the details as we get closer, but safety is definitely a paramount priority, and that's why we went to a fully virtual conference last year. It was 100% online. And we're excited this year to not only do in person, but also do an online component as well. So trying to meet people where they're at and how they're able to engage with events as we start to come back online.
Nice. Did I see yesterday? Either was announced yesterday or it just came across my transom yesterday. Bertrand Thurston at South by Southwest EDU.
Yeah, that is right. We just announced he's going to be in conversation with Priya Parker, who wrote a book called The Art of Gathering, which, for us that work in the event space was sort of like a guiding, principle to really follow about how do you create meaningful connection, gathering, togetherness in a time of distance. And I think she did a podcast for the New York Times. Bertunde Thurston has his How to Citizen podcast and has written a number of books. So I think it's going to be a really powerful conversation. One of the things that we try to do at South by Southwest EDU is bringing together unique voices for the education and learning community to really hear from and talk about those connections. And I think the two of them will have a powerful conversation.
Do you have any questions, Carla?
Yeah, what are you most excited for? Seeing as, it's going to be over 1,000 days, right, since the last in-person convening or conference that you've had. What are you most excited for?
One of the hardest things about 2020 was that was going to be the 10-year anniversary, and we had a lot of special things planned. And I'm not going to say this just because of who I'm talking to right now, but the leadership journeys that was planned for in 2020 was really, I think, going to be the hallmark of a lot of really important and great work that's happening. And that was sort of culminating in an initiative that would, start at South by Southwest EDU and then travel across the country to different events and convenings. And I think the idea of taking a nugget of community and togetherness and having it expand into more of a movement or more action throughout communities across the country was something that has been like a guiding principle to the work for so long. So honestly, I think seeing leadership journeys come back for South by Southwest EDU in 2022 is something I'm so grateful and so excited about.
Thank you for mentioning that. Like, our hearts broke because South by Southwest EDU was where we were going to debut a more public version of leadership journeys. We had done it once at our own conference, but this was supposed to be a bigger stage for us. Since then, we've done it at ASU GSV and Amplify. And I will say that even though we didn't kick it off at South by, we've learned enough in doing it in 2 other locations that I think we're going to bring it even more special, more powerful to your conference, Greg. We're excited. You had mentioned that you were getting ready to celebrate your 10th anniversary. Can you talk about what it looked like 12 years ago and how it's different now?
Yeah, I mean, 12 years ago, we started South by Southwest EDU in partnership with the Texas Education Agency. So it was very much sort of a regional focus, K-12. We were bringing together the Texas community around what was going on in education and learning. And you have to think like South by Southwest was not known for convenings around education at the time. They were known for music and film and interactive technology. And so we had about 800 people come out, which was a huge success. We had the commissioner of education in Texas, and we're really able to build some momentum around what was going on at that time back in 2011. And then quickly moved in the next year into sort of a national conversation where had Arnie Duncan, when he was Secretary of Education, come speak. We moved into a higher education space and that national focus. And within the first 3 years, went from 800 attendees to 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000. It really kind of blew up in those first 4 or 5 years. But back in the day, it was much smaller. And now we're doing it not just for a large in-person audience, but also for a really growing online audience. And I think that's sort of the biggest unique piece to this year, that not only will be the first time we're back in person, but it's the first time that we're doing this both for an in-person and an online community simultaneously.
I think we run a much smaller conference than South by, but one of the reasons we attend South by is because we look for things we would like to I don't want to say steal, but gently mimic, right? What are some of the conferences that you've been to that you're like, oh, this would fit very nicely in South by?
First of all, I think that there's a lot of art and tact that goes into producing a conference of any size. And in some, respects, going to more focused conference or conferences with a more focused community and approach to community throughout have given us a ton to learn from. And so I relate back to, I've unfortunately never been to Big Bang, but I've been to, BIF or Aspen Ideas Festival or some of these communities where they're thinking about the work and how it evolves over the course of the conference. And one of the things that I love that we've tried to participate in, but we haven't fully been able to capture, has been how do you take a nugget or an idea that's shared on day 1 of an event and have it evolve on day 2 and day 3, and then kind of unpack it as a community on that final day of the convening so that people are going back with maybe a more cohesive understanding of the learnings that happened or how they're going to bring that back into their community. And I've seen other events do that really well.
If it has not ever been clear to you, you have a standing invitation to attend any Big Bang you'd like. So
I would love to. I would love to.
We are planning on coming back in person too, which is explicitly why I asked you the question about safety protocols. We need to make sure that we're attentive to those things as well. But we will be in South Florida in July, so Greg, we'd love to see you there. If you're not in the midst of continuing to raise youngsters, I know that you welcome new members of your family during the 2 years since I've seen you last.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've reached the end. I don't want to stop it short. Carla, do you have any final questions for Greg?
No final questions. I'm just really excited to go to the sites, and then just explore Austin in general, because I've heard a lot of really great things. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
love to be able to do another one of these in March when we're all together in person, Greg, if you're open to that.
Yeah, count me in. I'd love to. That sounds great.
All right, I'm going to send you back to the green room while Carla and I wrap things up. But Greg, thank you for your time today, and we'll catch you later on. All right, Carla. It's never easy. It's never easy. Just kick someone off. It's very abrupt. But Carla, we got to get going. We're gonna go.
I know. I'm looking at the time. Oh shoot, we have an appointment.
Yeah, we're gonna go check out some sites for leadership journeys. We hope folks will come to Austin in March and not only join South by Southwest EDU, but also join our leadership journey session. Which, if you're looking at the schedule for the events, I should ask Craig what the dates were, but Wednesday of that week is probably when we'll have our leadership journey session. So, Carla, is there anything you'd like to take us?
Oh, yes. Make it a great day or not, folks. The choice is yours. Have a good one.